What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for coming back and joining me on part 4 of the Arsenal beta save. So in the last episode we had pushed through the January transfer window. We announced all of our new signings, showed you roughly how they're going to work into our team, how they will go with our ethos and the tactic. We also showed you the finances that were involved to bring them into the club, what we had left. We had a little rundown of the club vision. In today's episode, you can see the date is the 4th of June 2023. That means the first season has now been complete, and we are going to have a complete rundown of the season review of the 22-23 season. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into this one as we look at our season review. Let's kick off the season review then by looking at the competitions tab. As you can see, at the end of the last episode, we were top of the league. We had 52 points. We were a point clear of Liverpool, I think 2 points clear of Manchester City, and a long way clear of Tottenham and Chelsea, which are part of our objectives. And as you can see, we couldn't maintain that run of form. Fortunately for us, we have finished third. We have exceeded our expectations in terms of the board. They wanted us to qualify for the Champions League. We were in a title race all the way till the end. So no disgrace in finishing third in the Premier League at all. We've finished 8 points behind Liverpool, 7 behind City. And we finished 11 points clear of Tottenham, which are our closest rivals, obviously. And then we finished miles clear, 23 points, I think that is, clear of Chelsea. So the board will be happy with that as an outcome. In terms of the way we played, we were so brave and so gallant all the way through the season, and we never changed. We always went on that front foot and tried to continue the form that we had going through the season. Let's break the Premier League down a little bit more then. You can see on this wonderful grid of stats. Looking at us as a team, we played 38 games. We won 23. We drew 9. We lost 6. We had a goal difference of 38, which suggests we might need a few more goals in the team. And we had 78 points. Now, if you look at the form guide there, you can see that we lost 4 out of the last 5 games, which is part of the reason why we fell apart right at the end of the season. We will run through the schedule in the next part to show you exactly what had happened. But, as I said, no disgrace in finishing third in the Premier League in our first season, especially when we didn't have that first transfer window at the start of the game available to us, and then we used the money that we had and the players that we bought in bedded into the team seamlessly. Looking then through some of these stats then, so you've got some of these stats with the top 4 players. Obviously some of them will be joint, but let's run through them quickly. So in terms of goals, Erling Haaland, the machine himself, scoring 34 league goals. He's leading the way in that category. But Gabriel Jesus scored 27 league goals. Now that is quite impressive. Obviously it's his first season at Arsenal, both in real life and in the game. And also it means that the formation is getting the ball to the front man more than we need. We obviously need the midfielders to be chipping in with goals to help out too. But 27 is a great return from Gabriel Jesus in the first season. In terms of average ratings, Erling Haaland obviously leads the way there. Mo Salah, Kyle Walker and Cristiano Ronaldo rounding out the other places in that category. In terms of assists, we have Martin Odegaard. I did say at the start of the save that Odegaard really is developing as a footballer, and I think he's becoming a leader despite his young age. And there you have it. 15 assists on the season puts him ahead of Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. Harry Wilson is a surprise entrant in 4th place with 9 assists there too. Looking at Player of the Match awards then, Erling Haaland getting 9, Mo Salah on 8, Cristiano Ronaldo on 7 and Scamacca on 6. Clean sheets, Alisson, Ederson, 2 obvious ones. You got Ramsdale, our own goalkeeper, finishing on 15th, in joint second actually. I didn't realise Ederson had got 15, Ramsdale 15 and Raya on 15 too. In terms of yellow cards, Salisu, Ward, Adams and Ward-Prowse. Distance covered per 90 minutes, Smith, Click, Downs and Mbabu. And then tackles per 90 minutes, Saka is excelling in this defensive wide right position. 4.1 tackles per 90 minutes puts him top of that category, and I'm really proud to see him there because it means that the tactic is actually working. Dribbles per 90 minutes, Adama Kyle Walker. Saka is also in the dribbles per 90 minutes. So not only is he putting in the most tackles of the team, he's also having the most dribbles in the team. 6.14 is not too far behind. Adama getting 6.74, Kyle Walker 6.6, and then Andy Robertson on 5.67 means that he's actually playing really, really well in this wide midfield role. So that's the Premier League covered. Those are some stats there. In terms of the Europa League, it says we were knocked out by Manchester United. That obviously is correct. If we go to the group stage and show you all groups, we can run through that quickly if we can find our own group. Here we are down at the bottom, Group H. So we qualified playing 6, winning 5, drawing 1, didn't lose. Goal difference of 14 and 16 points on the board. That meant that we went through the group stage. I don't think we played in the playoff knockout round phase. We don't. We went straight to the round of 16 and we drew Fenerbahce. We beat them 4-2 on aggregate to get through to the next round. Then in the quarterfinals, we came out against AS Roma, beat them 3-1 on aggregate to get through to the semi-final. And then in the semi-final, we come up against Manchester United and we lost 3-1 on aggregate. Obviously then going into the final, that meant that Inter Milan would beat Manchester United 3-1, so they have won the Europa League. Looking at some stats for the Europa League then, in terms of goals, Ronaldo on 13, Lukaku on 10, Martinelli, our top goal scorer in this competition, on 9 goals. Best average ratings were Ronaldo, Lukaku, Arathoibal, Dybala, then you've got Çalhanoğlu, Jadon Sancho, Dumfries and Isaac Johansson. In terms of assists, 7, 7, 6 and 5 there. Player of the Match awards goes to Ronaldo and then Orsic. You've got Dybala and Darami. You've got clean sheets go to Patricio, De Gea, I think that says Bushchan, and then Fructal. In terms of yellow cards, Vice, Rico, Zubimendi and Gustavo Henrique. Distance covered per 90 minutes, Newcoop, Christiansen, Lena and Jose Rodriguez. Then you've got tackles per 90 minutes is Brandt, Blanco, Skov Olsen and Ongenda. Then you've got Asay Samuel, Kieran Tierney getting in the dribbles per 90 minutes category, Lena and Ridwan Yilmaz. And you might see I'm struggling a little bit to read some of these. It's because the print is quite small. It's been squashed down because of the laptop dimensions, I think. Also, it might be that the font in terms of the skin that I use maybe could do with expanding a little bit. But we got there. So that's Europa League covered. Inter Milan have won that. They won 3-1 in the final. So in terms of the FA Cup then, we started our campaign at the 3rd round. Let's have a little look at that. Where are we? There is a lot of teams there. So in the 3rd round, we beat Southampton 3-1. In the 4th round, we then beat Crystal Palace 4-0 in a replay after we got told off by the board and the fans. In the 5th round, we beat Middlesbrough 2-1. In the quarterfinals, we came up against Blackburn and needed extra time to win that game 3-2. In the semi-finals, we then lost to Chelsea in extra time, and that means that Chelsea went on into the final where they beat Manchester City 4-2. Looking at the Carabao Cup, we finished runners-up in this, so it's a season of nearlies. If we go back to I think we come into this in the 4th round. Yeah, start off in the 4th round. So we won 4-0 against Fleetwood. Quarterfinals, we beat Crystal Palace 4-1. In the semi-finals, brushed aside Newcastle 6-4 on aggregate. And then in the final, we lost 2-0 to Liverpool in a disappointing game where we really didn't get much going. But looking at the stats in this, Gabriel Jesus top scorer, Gabriel Jesus most player of the match awards, Kieran Tierney's in there for the dribbles per 90 minutes, and average rating, Gabriel Jesus 8.14, so Gabriel Jesus loves him the Carabao Cup. So back to the overall then, and you can see it was agonisingly close on so many fronts. So we finished third in the Premier League, we finished in the semi-finals of the Europa League, we finished in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, and we finished runners-up in the Carabao Cup. So let's have a little run through the schedule and show you how we got to those outcomes in the competitions. Okay, here we are at the schedule tab then. I can't remember where we had got up to exactly in the previous episode, but if we start off on the 1st of February, which is where the transfer window shut, we can just go through. We beat Newcastle 3-2 in the Carabao Cup semi-final second leg. Goals from Caden Clark getting 2 and Gabriel Jesus. Granit Xhaka getting himself a red card in that game. Guimaraes and Shelby scoring for Newcastle. We then beat Bournemouth 4-0 in the Premier League. They came to the Emirates and got bashed. Odegaard getting 2, Gabriel Jesus getting 2. In that fourth round FA Cup replay that the board really wanting to avoid. They were disappointed we drew the first game. We went and fulfilled our requirements. Odegaard getting 2, Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus getting the goals there. We then beat Wolves 1-0 in the Premier League through Gabriel Jesus' penalty after 3 minutes. And then we started to have a little wobble. So we played against Leicester and we drew 2-2. Wilfred Ndidi scoring early. Jamie Vardy doubled it up. And then we did fight our way back into the game. We had a load of chances towards the end. Couldn't get the 3 points, but we should never have been 2-0 down to begin with because we started so slow. And then we played against Everton and could only draw 1-1 in that game too. Gabriel scoring for us, Gordon getting a penalty after 75 minutes. Played Brighton, got back to winning ways, won 2-1 in the Premier League. Trossard scoring for Brighton, Jesus and Saka for us. Trossard then got himself sent off. We then went into our first domestic cup final of the save. It was the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. Let's show you how Liverpool won the game. Disappointing, obviously. 2-0. Firmino and Elliott are going to get the goals. But let's show you quickly how they came about. So, Ramsdale plays it out from the back. Saliba gets caught with the pass. Plays to Bobby Firmino, who chips it over Ramsdale. And it's an easy 1-0 lead after 27 minutes. And then in the second half, Tierney bringing the ball out from the back gets caught in possession. Henderson plays it forwards to Keita. Elliott beats Ramsdale to the ball. And it's 2-0 and game over. Liverpool win the Carabao Cup. Right, quickly going to move on because there is a lot of games to cover here. Next, we played Middlesbrough and won 2-1. We drew 0-0 with Notts Forest in a really disappointing game where we just could not finish to save our lives. We then lost 1-0 to Fenerbahce in the away leg going to Turkey. Even though they had a man sent off and we knocked on the door, we couldn't break it down. We then beat West Ham 1-0 in the Premier League through Saka and had El Neni sent off. Fenerbahce we beat 4-1 in the return leg in the Europa League round of 16 second leg. We then beat Blackburn 3-2 in the FA Cup quarter final before moving on to April. Started off April in good form, beat Leeds 2-1 with goals from Jesus and Martinelli. Patrick Bamford did get one back at the end for Leeds. And then we threw a game away where we scored after 16 minutes, allowed an equaliser after 31. Battered Newcastle but could not get a winner. More dropped points there. We then played Fulham and won 2-0 in the Premier League. Martinelli and Tomiyasu with the goals. We drew 0-0 in the first leg of the Europa League quarter-final against Roma. We drew 1-1 in the Premier League against Manchester United in a game that was quite frustrating, to be honest. We didn't play exceptionally well. Bruno Fernandes obviously is going to open the scoring and Martinelli is going to equalise. But you might be able to see Kieran Tierney also got himself a red card, which was inexcusable, really. I mean, Ramsdale should have saved that shot too. Not too sure why he didn't. And then Manchester United trying to play out from the back. Dalo gets caught in possession. Martinelli smashes the ball into the roof of the net. Will it show the red card? Is that worthy of a highlight? It's not. It was to Kieran Tierney, as you can see up here anyway. So a 1-1 draw with Manchester United was quite respectable. But now as we're getting towards the business end of the season, we really needed to be turning those into 3 points. And then we managed to play our skins off. We won 3-1 against Roma in the home leg. Gabriel Martinelli scoring a hat-trick and Tammy Abraham scoring for Roma. Then the wheels fell off. I do not know what happened. It just kind of fell apart. Chelsea beat us in the FA Cup semi-final 2-1. They then beat us in the league 2-0. We lost to Tottenham 2-1. Disappointing home derby game in the North London derby there. Saka scoring. No, sorry, Saka didn't score. Saka got sent off. Fabio Vieira scored. Kane and Emerson Royal scoring for Tottenham. We got a 1-1 draw with Manchester United in the Europa League semi-final first leg. Goal from Martinelli and Lisandro Martinez. Aston Villa came... No, we went to Aston Villa, sorry. Douglas Luiz got himself sent off. Fabio Vieira scoring with a penalty. And then a miserable end to the season saw us lose 2-0 in the semi-final second leg of the Europa League. We then lost to Liverpool 2-1 in a silly game where on another day we would have got a point. Probably didn't deserve one anyway. You can see Salah and Jota getting the goals and Gabriel Jesus scoring for ourselves, taking the lead and then falling behind late on in games is seemingly what happens at the end of some of these games. I mean, we started off fantastically here, stole the ball, Odegaard played it through to Jesus. He puts the ball away. At this point, you're thinking this could be our day. We could kick on here and go and win the game. But oh no, Liverpool have other ideas. Ball to Jota, plays it to Salah. He smashes home, doesn't miss those, obviously. And then in the 79th, 80th minute, Harvey Elliott plays the ball out to Fabinho. He's going to cross it in. We leave him wide open at the back post. And Diogo Jota punishes us. So a disappointing 2-1 loss there, and then finally to round the season out we lose 3-2 to Crystal Palace. Domink Szoboszlai, he did get an injury. Let me just see how long that injury was for. I think it was about 3 months, which was really unfortunate because obviously he was our marquee signing. No, actually, don't know why I thought it was so long. He was only out for 7 days in total. Thought he was out for longer than that. Obviously mistaken. Yeah, so Szoboszlai getting the 2 goals at the end of the season, and it's one that basically we are looking to push away and get away from. So that's the season review pretty much done. We've showed you how we performed in the Premier League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup and the schedule. The last few things to run through will be the club finances and the club vision going forwards, and then a little look at the squad and preview any transfers that we're going to make or attempt to make in the summer transfer window. After our exploits of finishing third in the Premier League, reaching the semi-finals of the Europa League and qualifying for the Champions League and also our cup runs, it means the finances at the club look like this. So, a little bit crazily, we have £38.575 million in the bank. We have a transfer budget there of £76.57 million. And I'm going to look to spend as much of that as I possibly can. I have 1 or 2 signings in mind that I really want to go out and try and get. Looking at the rest of the finances though, you can see in terms of the wage budget, we have a £2.62 million wage budget. We are now committed to spending £2.42 million with a current spend of 2.43. So a lot of money available to us to go out and make the signings that we want. In terms of the financial fair play, we're going to pass for the Premier League and pass for the Europa League going forwards to the end of this season. Obviously, we have qualified for the Champions League. We will hopefully get a little boost of money to maybe top that £76 million up. I don't think there's going to be too much more in the kitty, but there are a few players I am eyeing up letting go. Obviously, the squad at the end of the last episode wasn't the biggest. We're going to look to add to it, but I think there will be a few casualties too. Looking at the club vision then for the end of the first season, the board have rated us a B-. They wanted us to increase commercial revenue. They're disappointed. I'm not too sure how I can affect that in terms of on the pitch. I think with us qualifying for the Champions League and the cup runs that we had, it probably should get better and get easier, but you never know. Work within the wage budget, we're on course to do that quite easily. Sign players to sell for a profit, they're reserving judgment. Grow the club's reputation, reserving judgment. So obviously, again, like I just said, having that European run and also finishing third in the Premier League, qualifying for the Champions League is all going to help with that. Let's see what the supporters think. So the supporters have only given us a C+. They are overall pleased with the job I'm doing. They are disappointed that we don't play attacking football. Now, that's a little bit strange. I thought that we were playing attacking football. There were some games where we were really getting opposition in their own half and dropping deep. And then I suppose that goal difference, like I said, when we were looking at the competitions, possibly means we could take a step forwards up the pitch. It's something I might look to integrate into the tactic for next season. I wants to play entertaining football, satisfied with that. Finish above Tottenham, satisfied. Finish above Man United, satisfied. Be competitive against Chelsea, we finished above them by miles. And they want to qualify for the Europa League. We have actually qualified for the Champions League. So not too sure what the board and the supporters are really looking for. When you hit most of the objectives, I thought we would have got a bit better grades than what we did, but hey ho, that is what we have. So the final thing we're going to look at quickly before we move on from this episode is the squad. We're going to show you what we can do and hopefully look at the weaknesses that we might have and maybe give you one or two little names that we're going to look to try and sign going into the summer transfer window. Here we go then, we have dipped into our trusty squad planner so we can see the players that are going to be at the club going forwards. So looking at the goalkeeping situation, we have Ramsdale, who is a lock to be our number one goalkeeper for the entirety of the save, providing he doesn't ask to move on. We have Matt Turner, we have Alex Runarsson and Jakob Hein as backup goalkeepers. Turner might want to leave. There was a little bit of a disgruntled kind of asking whether he could go out because he wants to play in the American first team. He wants to be a first team goalkeeper at the age of 28. Probably isn't going to get that here. So there is chance that we might be able to move him on and try and make a bit of money there. In terms of the left back position, we got Zinchenko, Tierney, Nuno Tavares to come back, Maitland-Niles and Javi Araujo, who we are looking to develop. In terms of the centre-back positions, so a lot of players still there. Gabriel, William Saliba, Benjamin White, Rob Holding, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Pablo Mari, who in real life has had a really scary accident. Like, what happened to him in Italy is just absolutely horrific, and hopefully he gets better soon. Austin Trusty has come back to the club. I believe he was out on loan during this season. Omar Rekik is out on loan currently and he will come back. Javi Araujo and Wesley Hote. So obviously Hote was the player that we signed as a bit of a rotation option. The board and the fans didn't really like him. I think I can confidently say that our defence is pretty solid. Don't think we'll go out and spend too much cash on a centre-back. Maybe if we move one of them on, maybe Rob Holding might be the one to look at moving on. He's 27 years old. Might try and get a younger replacement for him. If that happens, then maybe we will go out and look at a few options. But I think the defence might be pretty much settled. Looking at the ball-winning midfielders then. So it's Zinchenko, Partey, Lokonga, Granit Xhaka, El Neni, Rekik, Patino and Aziz. So the two young lads there, Rekik and Aziz, probably aren't going to be breaking through into the first team next season. Charlie Patino I'm interested to have a look at. He's been out on loan at Blackpool. Would like to see how he will do in the first team. Then we've got El Neni, who might move on. His contract runs out at the end of next season, so don't really want to be paying him more than £50,000. If he plays hardball with a contract, he will be moved on. Granit Xhaka also, now he's on £100,000 a week. His contract runs out next season. Might have a go at renewing his contract if we can bring his wage down a little bit. I've got a feeling it's going to be hard. Lokonga is safe. Thomas Partey might be in trouble. 2025 his contract. He's been unhappy that he couldn't join Zenit and we transfer listed him. So if the right kind of deal comes in for him, he's one potentially who will be replaced, and I have the perfect replacement in mind. And then Zinchenko, our gadget player who plays just absolutely everywhere. Looking at the right midfield position, that's Zinchenko, Reece Nelson, Paulinho, Marquinhos, and the game obviously doesn't realise that Bukayo Saka has played there all season, and that is his position. Looking at the Mazzala position then, so we've got Zinchenko, Odegaard, who will play there probably, him or Szoboszlai, Partey, Lokonga, El Neni. You've got Xhaka, Vieira, Maitland-Niles, Patino, Smith, Aziz, Ndour and Szoboszlai, who can all play there. So we are overcrowded in terms of the midfield. I think if we do streamline that down a little bit, it might be good for the club. If we bring the player I've got in mind, then we're definitely going to be streamlining, because we won't need all of those names in there. In terms of the attacking midfielder on the left position, this is another one that is overcrowded. It's got Saka, but we won't play him there. Zinchenko, we won't play him there. Gabriel Jesus, Fabio Vieira, Gabriel Martinelli, Smith Rowe, Nicolas Pepe is to come back, but I've got a feeling I'm going to try and show him the door as quickly as possible. Eddie Nketiah, Marcelo Flores is an interesting player who's out on loan. A lot of big clubs came in for him in January. We turned them all away. Interesting to see what he can become. We've got Reece Nelson, Caden Clark, Cade Cowell, Paulinho and Domink Szoboszlai, who can all play in that position. So nothing really needing to be done there unless there is an elite option that pops up. And then in terms of the strikers, Gabriel Jesus had a fine season in the Premier League. Martinelli is playing fine, whether he's up top or whether he's wide left. Eddie Nketiah has been okay, but he is asking to leave because we couldn't sort out his playing time. And then we've got the loanees. We've got Balogun, who's out on loan, Marquinhos, Beereth, Marcelo Flores, and then Cade Cowell down there at the bottom, who I think is starting to develop into a great footballer. We have a little look at the best 11 then going forwards. Obviously, this is the opinion still of Steve Round, our assistant manager. So it's Ramsdale, Gabriel, Saliba, White, Zinchenko, Samuel Lokonga, Partey, Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus. So Szoboszlai can't even get in Steve Round's first 11. A little bit crazy. I think he's quite loyal to the players that are at the club to begin with. I think Szoboszlai should probably be in there easily. Don't know if we'd play him in Odegaard's position and maybe move Odegaard back, or whether we'd try... Yeah, I think we probably would do that. I think I'd probably move Odegaard back into Partey's role and then put Szoboszlai in the middle for there. So, a quick look at a few of the names that I am considering then. So, Jude Bellingham is going to be the first one. Obviously, everybody knows Jude. Dortmund's wonder kid. Comes with a release clause, I believe, of £88 million. Here it is. That expires on the 31st of January 2025. So if we get the cash, we will look at triggering that. Another midfielder that I have tried to have a look at is Sandro Tonali. It says here that we probably shouldn't make an offer because he isn't for sale. The board, or our scouts, say go and sign him whatever the price. The price there is 126 to 149 million pounds. Whether Milan hold out for that or not, I do not know. But Tonali is a player that in real life is absolutely wonderful as a footballer. He's so gifted. I would love to sign him in the game, obviously. So those are two options that we've got for that midfield. As I said, I think we're going to probably move Partey on. I think that... Who was the other one that's in that position? Partey and Elneny. Elneny and Partey will probably be moving on from the club, and that will give us that little gap to go and sign that elite player, that Jude Bellingham or that Sandro Tonali, and the players that we need there. Also, be on the lookout for any other bargains that can come in and improve the team. Obviously, in this game, sometimes you get players put on the transfer list that probably shouldn't be there. So if we spot one of those, we will probably go and pick them up too. Right then, that is enough waffle about the first season. We have now completed the first season. Yes, the season review is done, and in the next episode we're going to be pushing through the summer transfer window and kicking off season 2 with the Premier League. We're going to show you the first couple of games that we get through. I'm going to show you all the players that we sign and the transfer activity that goes on in the summer transfer window, and we are going to kick off season 2 in style. So, if you're still at this point of the video, still listening to me talk, firstly, a great big thank you. I really appreciate every single one of you that takes the time to come here, listen to me waffle on, watch the content, enjoy the content, and interact with the channel. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the comments box if you want to say anything about the content that you have been watching. Before I go, don't forget to check out other things on the channel. We have tactics, Wonder Kids, we have Let's Plays, there is tutorials, there is a little something for everybody, so make sure you go and check out the rest of the channel. But for this one, I'm going to leave it there. Big thank you for watching. Come and join me on the next episode of the Arsenal Beta Save.